Hello there everybody, how's it going and how have you been? I am EuclideanSqd, and we're back here in Duel Links. We do have a little bit of a small event going on right now before a big upcoming event, and that particular small event is Zane Truesdale, Master of the Cyber Dragons, has started to appear in Duel World GX. Now, much like many of the previous events, Zane himself is a bit of a wandering duelist, so he will show up, you duel him, he disappears for you to do anywhere from like 2 to 5 to 10 duels, and then he'll just respawn whenever he wants and you get to duel him again. Now, this video is a little bit late just because Zane himself does have a bit of a tricky deck to try and farm against. He does have a lot of very powerful fusion monsters, and on top of that, for whatever reason, he just did not want to spawn at level 40 for me. Like, literally 2 days went by and he just kept showing up as level 30s. I couldn't get him to show up as level 40, so anyway, the deck that I found to farm Zane with is actually pretty nice, all things considered. It only has the one ultra rare card, which is the Winged Dragon of Ra, so hopefully you guys got that during the Omni-Merrick event a little while back. But the main bulk of the deck is going to be nothing but rares and normals. And the general farming skill, or farming strategy, is pretty straightforward on that as well. You literally rely on these two particular Cloudian monsters, Cloudian Storm Dragon and Cloudian Turbulence. Just keep them in attack mode, they cannot be destroyed in battle, and then you combo that with cards like the Sanctuary in the Sky or Spirit Barrier, which make it so that you don't take battle damage while you control a monster, or specifically, you don't take battle damage involving you don't take battle damage with battles involving fairy type monsters. So basically, because these things can't be destroyed, you just leave them sitting there in attack mode. Zane can't do anything to damage your life points once you have at least one of these, and then either the field spell or the continuous trap activated. He will just sit there, just completely unable to do anything. He doesn't have any sort of spell or trap destruction in his level 40 deck that he can use to break this lock. Cloudian Sheep Cloud is available to kind of help buffer attacks until you can get one of the two damage blocking cards, but also importantly is that Storm Dragon needs you to remove a Cloudian monster from your graveyard to actually special summon it, and Sheep Cloud is perfect for that. You just set it in defense mode, Zane will immediately go after it, and then you can just banish it from your graveyard on the next turn to summon a Storm Dragon. Now that's the first half of the strategy. The second half is even easier. You just keep these golden ladybugs in your hand, revealing them every turn to gain 500 life points for each. And then on the final turn of the duel, you sacrifice 3 Cloudians, summon your Winged Dragon of Ra, and then dump all of your life points into Ra to boost its attack strength, and then just punch through whatever Zane has on the field, and you will more than likely do well over 10,000 damage. I mean, the first time I tested this deck, I kid you not, through a monster, Ra still did over 20,000 life points worth of damage. So this deck is very potent at being able to get the over 10,000. The only thing I can think might screw you is if the ladybugs decide to be particularly finicky and hide at the bottom of your deck. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Additionally, we do have some Pot of Benevolences. These can be used to put cards back into Zane's deck if he ever does get ahead of you in terms of cards. And then finally, I added an Aegis of Gaia. The original deck recipe had 2 Sanctuary in the Skies. I only had the 1, so I added an Aegis of Gaia. Again, it's perfectly fine to use this trap card because Zane has no spell and trap destruction. So you just activate it, you gain 3,000 life points, and that's basically 3,000 extra attack points for Ra to feed on. So, with that, and additionally, the deck does not require any skill. Restart is recommended just in case you get a particularly bad starting hand, but it is not required. But yes, with that, we're going to be going ahead and dueling against Zane. I'm going to go over the cards really quick. Of particular note is this thing, Chimeratech Overdragon. This is a very, very powerful fusion monster. You do need at least one Cyber Dragon, which you can beat, or which you can get from beating Zane. But basically, it's a fusion of at least one Cyber Dragon and at least one, but you can add in as many other machines as you like. And long story short, this thing's attack power is equal to the number of monsters used to fuse it times 800, and it gets to attack that many times each turn. Well, it can attack your opponent's monsters up to that number of times. So I think if your opponent has at least one monster, it will absorb all the attacks. But even so, you fuse just 3 monsters into this thing, suddenly you have a 2400 attack point monster that can attack 3 different times. You go one further, it's 3200 attack points that can attack up to 4 times. This is an amazing fusion monster. It's made all the better by the fact that Zane can also give you this spell card called Cybernetic Fusion Support. It does require you to pay half your life points, but if you fusion summon a machine type fusion this turn, you can also banish monsters in your graveyard as part of the fusion materials. So if you have some kind of specially engineered deck that's good at sending other machines to the grave, or if it just happens to be late in a duel and you have a couple extras in the grave, you can totally use Cybernetic Fusion Support to then access those machines to dump into Chimera Tech Overdragon for more power. Now, additionally, he does have some more Cyber Dragon focus cards. He does have this thing, Cyber Dragon Zwe. Gains 300 attack whenever it attacks one of your opponent's monsters. You can reveal a spell card in your hand, and its name becomes just Cyber Dragon until the end phase. So you can use this to fuse for Chimera Tech Overdragon. He also has Cyber Repair Plant. So if you do have a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard, you can activate one of the following effects. You can either add a light machine type monster from your deck to your hand, or shuffle a light machine from your graveyard into your deck. He's got Infernal Dragon, which is a 2000 attack point dragon. If it attacks, it is destroyed and sent to the graveyard during the end phase. But if it is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon it back to the field by tributing one of your other monsters. So if you have anything that's really good at generating tokens, or if you have a little shrimpy monster that you just want to throw out on the field, Infernal Dragon can attack, it'll self-destruct, and at the end of the turn you contribute the little monster to bring Infernal Dragon back. Otherwise, some of the cards aren't too interesting. There is Cyber Kieran. You contribute it to make any effect damage you take 0. Can be good in some situations. There is Proto Cyber Dragon, which changes its name to be Cyber Dragon while it's on the field, not in the graveyard. Just want to make that clear. This is a new counter trap that he can give, Damage Polarizer. Basically, whenever the owner of the trap would take effect damage, you can use this trap card, negate the activation of the effect, and then both players draw a card. But then otherwise he just has this weird little Kaiser Dragon fusion monster, which isn't that great, I think. As well as this weird spell card that I can't figure out the use for. Basically, you select a face-up machine type fusion, remove it from play until the end phase of the current turn. When that monster comes back to the field, it gets double the attack points, but then during your next standby phase, it's destroyed. So the only thing I can think of is to make sure that you have a monster that's super powerful and deters your opponent from attacking you for one turn, because if you try to activate that card during your turn, the monster comes back for the opponent's turn with double attack, and then your standby phase comes before you get to attack with it and it blows up. If you try to activate it during your opponent's turn, it will come back at the end of their turn and then blow up at your standby phase again. So I can't figure out the use for this other than just being a big deterrent, but regardless, that's enough about his cards. Let's go ahead and charge right into a duel. Hopefully my deck will cooperate so you can see the farming strategy. But otherwise, don't beat yourselves up if you have a hard time farming level 40 Zanes. Like I mentioned, he's really tough. He has that Chimera Tech Overdragon in his fusion deck, and additionally he has 2 other nasty fusion monsters. I forgot that I left character lines on. And let's have it on. The other fusion monsters he has are Cyber Twin Dragon, which takes 2 Cyber Dragons, and it can attack twice. I think it has about 2600 attack points or something. And his third fusion monster is his ace card, Cyber End Dragon. This thing takes 3 Cyber Dragons, which you will see here. Takes 3 of these. It has 4000 attack points, I want to say, and I'm 90% sure it does piercing damage. So if you can't run this Cloudian deck, try to run something that sabotages fusions, because you definitely do not want him to have any of his fusion monsters. Like, ever. He's going to be a completely bad time if he manages to summon any of them. And you don't have something like this, which just is a strategy that just creates a perfectly impenetrable barrier to monster attacks. You don't have to worry about Turbulence's fog counters or anything. Basically, all it would do is you can remove fog counters from Turbulence to special summon other Cloudians from your deck or from your graveyard, but that specific Cloudian is not in this deck, and it's not important for Turbulence to resist damage. And yeah, here comes Cyber Twin Dragon. Oh, it is 2800, my bad. Yeah, this thing can attack twice during each battle phase. So if you're going to go for just a straight up brawl with Zane, you really want something to counter fusions in your deck, is what I'm trying to get at. Either negating the spells that he uses to try and summon his fusion monsters, or something that sabotages special summon monsters, or whatever. But the point is that pretty much all of his fusion monsters are going to be very difficult to get over in just straight up combat. Especially because I believe the other big card you want to watch out for in this guy's deck is, I'm pretty sure he has it, but it's a spell card called Power Bond. And if he ever, I'm not going to get into that, I'm just going to get into these. I think those are the least dangerous cards, I guess. But basically, Power Bond is sort of a specialized polymerization. It can only be used to fuse for a machine-type fusion monster, but that fusion monster gets double the attack power. Like, double its original attack power. So, for example, if you were to use that to summon Cyber Twin Dragon, it would have, what's that, 5,600 attack points instead of 2,800. Now, if you're thinking to yourselves, that sounds like a ridiculously powerful card, you would be correct, and it does have an equally strong downside. Specifically, that at the end of the turn that Power Bond is used, if that fusion monster is still in the field, or just regardless, you take damage equal to said fusion monster's original attack power. So, if you did use Power Bond to summon Cyber Twin, yes, it would have 5,600 attack points, but at the end of his turn, he would then take 2,800 points of damage because of Power Bond's recoil effect. And he does in fact have Power Bond. So, yeah, there's Chimera Tech Overdragon. Ooh, does it have an animation? Come on. Alright, so Overdragon's going to banish all the cards from his deck. He's going to take damage equal to its original attack. Yeah, during the end phase of the turn this card is activated, you take damage equal to the amount of attack gained from this effect at the time of the summon. So, regardless, that's still going to come out to the monster's original attack point, since that is what is getting doubled by the effect of Power Bond. So let's keep tossing cards back into his deck. Let's give him back this and this. I'm kind of okay sending back Cyber Dragons because he at least can't summon them to the field right away. But yeah, primarily just watch out for his fusions and his fusion summoning ability. I think he has one more card that he can use to fuse with, but whatever it is kind of eluding me. I think I might just be thinking of cybernetic fusion support, but I'm not sure. But yeah, basically, if you can find some means of locking off Zane's extra deck, you're probably going to be golden, because not many of his other monsters really get above about 2,100, 2,200 attack points. I'm actually fine. He's probably going to switch Cyber Dragon Core into defense mode. So I need to get Ra to at least 10,000, 1,800 attack points. Which means I need to get to about 12,000 life points. Because the way Ra works is when you first tribute summon for it, you get one opportunity to give up all but 100 of your life points to convert those into Ra's attack points. So if I were to summon Ra right now, it would have 9,900 attack points, which is a lot, but not enough for what I'm going for. And as you can see, this whole Euclidean lock is pretty stifling to him. He has no way of getting rid of the field spell. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. He does have one means of getting rid of the field spell. It's a monster called Light Ray Daedalus, but it has to be special summoned to the field by, I want to say, banishing light monsters from the graveyard. I don't think that's 100% correct, but basically if his field's full up like this, you shouldn't really have to worry about seeing that Light Ray Daedalus. If it does show up, however, that thing can destroy field spells. So just keep that in mind if you happen to have Sanctuary in the Sky in play to seal battle damage. Alright, now we're starting to snowball. Let's go ahead and dump the Sheep Cloud because we don't need it anymore. No, you're not stealing victory from anyone, Zane. And as you can see, if you get the golden ladybugs, like, even halfway through the duel, you really start gaining life points. I'm at 14k right now. And in fact, I'm gonna get to 20,000. Because I got 4 more draws left in the deck. I'm getting 1,500 per turn. I'm activating a Spirit Barrier just to make extra sure that he can't break through. But yeah, so the golden ladybugs are going to generate a total of 6,000 more life points for me. And because I'm starting to get tired of hearing that little soundbite, I'm going to turn the character lines off really quick. But yeah, that's the basis of the lock. Hopefully this works out for you guys. It's been working fairly well whenever a level 40 Zane shows up, but like I mentioned earlier, for some reason, I just seem to be a magnet for the level 30 difficulty. I don't know if the RNG is being particularly mean to me, or if the level 40 is set to be kind of rare because he gives out fairly powerful cards. I don't know. But regardless, and again, I also want to mention that I did not come up with this deck idea myself. I did search, level 40 Zane farming decks, and I found one like this. Tried to reproduce it as best I could, but I definitely wanted to show this one just because of how cheap it actually is. In fact, almost messed that up because I was on autopilot, but in addition to being cheap, it's actually cheaper than usual because I believe all the Euclideans are in the same box in the shop. Now, I can't remember which one that is off the top of my head, but it should be pretty easy to get all the Euclideans you need at once. Now then, Ra, if you don't mind, 18,100 points of damage straight to Zane. More than enough to get me the over 10,000 dual assessment reward, and let's see if I get anything good. Because I have gotten all the Chimera Tech Over Dragons I need, because this is actually Zane's second outing into Duel World. But I think I'm still missing some of the new cards. Ooh. I needed that. I needed another Berserk Dragon. Thank you, Zane. Alright. So, yep, that that's the deck I found to farm Zane. Hopefully it works out for you guys just as well as it did for me. And on that note, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all had a great time, and I hope you all have a great day. And I will see you all in the next episode.